let's start my third Rudecast here. And I certainly hope, I do not really know who Nipuna is, but he was the guy who sort of inspired me to start the podcast because he was like, start. I want to start on it. Karke. I was like, yeah, let's do this. Okay. And when he said he's from Sri Lanka, I was extremely like, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And this is something I must do. So, hi Nipuna, how are you? How are you is a very weird question to ask a Sri
Yeah.
Lankan, but go on anyway.
Yeah, actually, I can like give you some kind of one-line answer. I'm fine. Just I'm working remotely, so I'm a software engineer and a computer researcher.
Hmm.
So like I don't have to travel to anywhere. Just I'm working with the clients all over the world, like Singapore, Australia, and America. So
Right.
yeah, and Europe as well. So like I don't have some like those mundane problems like. Uh, what like the problem the people in Sri Lanka are facing right now, like oil, we have some hardships of finding petrol and
Right.
other gas. So I'm not traveling, so I don't have that kind of problem. But the one of the major problem I face is the power cuts. But I think it's limited to around 2 hours a day now, so I don't think it will be much be a problem to me because I am working like I don't have a strict schedule. So if I don't have power, like I'll take I'll take some time off and I'll
Mhm.
reset myself and start working after the power is back on.
Right.
So that's about me. So like, can you tell me about something like what's happening in India as well? Like I should get to know yourself as well.
Yeah, so India is good actually. We are pretty much comfortable.
Yeah,
And thankfully, like compared to the world, we are pretty much in a good space. Like we
yeah,
don't have that much inflation. We don't have those many electricity problems, etc.,
yeah.
etc. So I don't know whether it's because of the government or because of our geographical reality or what. But I suspect that we are doing pretty like we are all doing pretty well overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are good. I mean, compared to you guys, we are definitely in heaven somewhere. But
Yeah, yeah.
tell me, how hard is it to actually get food? Like in your case, where do you live, and how hard is it to get food there?
How hard to get some food, right? Food,
Food, yes,
food.
yeah.
Yeah. It's very simple. Like when I live in a semi-suburban area, like our town called Kalutara. It's
Mm-hmm.
in Western Province, and it's near to Colombo as well. Like 1.5 hour distance in from Kalutara to Colombo. Like from my home to Colombo, 1.5 hour.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there won't be any traffic, but with traffic
Right.
you can like 2.5 hours. But
Okay.
to get some food, like I just can walk like walking distance. There are groceries, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any like hardships to find food in my area. Like we have like we also have paddy cultivations. Like we are growing foods in our area as well because we are not very urbanized area. Like we are semi-urbanized. So
Right.
there are some part is moving towards a town, but like urban area. But some parts moving towards a village. Like people are making growing food for themselves and for commercial uh,
Right.
cultivating. So
Commercial purposes. Right.
yeah, no problem about in finding food here.
Okay. But was there a time for like 2 or 3 weeks where the whole thing really collapsed and there was a massive
Yeah,
food
actually,
problem
yes.
and then
Yeah. Let me tell you about that because I can't remember the exact time frame, but there was like three weeks. Uh,
right.
there was like 3 weeks. There was zero petrol or diesel in our petrol sheds, and there was
Right.
like the everything just collapsed. Like I think it's in like the latter part of the June month. So like
Mm-hmm.
everything just collapsed. Like people were in home, and most of the like what do you call it, like the essential workers, like the doctors or the health workers, like the people who run ports and customs or police and
Right.
like those things, they were working because they were they were given rations of gas.
Right.
But other parts are like everything just stopped. Like it was really scary. Like you just I just walked, as I said, when
Yeah,
I
please.
don't have time. I don't have, like when we don't have power supply. I just walk on the street and just see what happens. Like the whole roads are like just like ghost towns. There's nobody on the road, like no vehicles, only people who were like riding bicycles. Like you can see many people riding bicycles. Other than that, you won't see like big transport vehicles, buses filled with people. Just like it's close to like we were from like 1960s or 1950s. Like we're going back.
Wow, that is crazy.
Like I think it's like it's one of it's everything. Like it's something that I might face in my life only one time. Like I don't think it will happen again. But it
Right.
was really scary. But in a, say another sense, like it was very interesting. Like to see that kind of collapse in one's lifetime. Like how did he get here? Like how
Yeah.
did whole country became like a ghost town, like standstill. How the country comes.
Amazing.
It's
Yeah,
really
I can imagine. I can imagine. It
yeah.
must be crazy. Okay, so let's go a little through history. Firstly, how old are you?
I'm 26 years old.
Okay. Do you remember anything of the Tiger conflict?
I think
LTT rather.
yeah. From what I can remember, like the conflict ended in 2009. I was very young,
Mhm.
but the only thing that I can remember is like there was like checkpoints when I told you I'm in Kalutara and I need to go to I went to a school in Colombo, in the urban area,
Right.
so I had to travel every day. Like
Right.
so, I remember like there was a town called Dehiwala. It has a big place just created
Right.
to check you. Like
Wow.
they like just ask all the people who with the buses or vans or any kind of vehicle to just
Hmm.
get out of the vehicle, and they will
Right.
search the vehicle and search the people as well, and search every luggage, everything. And
Wow.
if every like since I'm a kid, I don't had any like national identity card, but
Right.
those adults had to produce some kind of identity card to prove that you are a person in Sri Lanka or something like that, or if you are
Wow.
not some kind of a person of interest in the Sri Lankan military, or I'm not going to talk about anything related to that, but I'm
Right.
just saying as a kid I can remember like so we had to go like leave our house sometime earlier because we had to anticipate those kind of
Yes.
interruptions when we are traveling.
Correct.
So
Oh, right. So, okay. So, I just to give context to everyone else who's listening here, basically the LTTE conflict it was one of the biggest terrorist groups in the world. It had taken an entire slice of North Sri Lanka, and this was going on for 25, 30 years almost. All right. So that is basically what I'm asking about, and it affected everyone, including people in India, in the sense of that it was basically a conflict between the Tamils and the local Sinhalese. So that's the context. Anyway, I just wanted to ask you from that point, what are you? Are you a local Sinhalese, and what do you speak at home? Is it's the
yeah,
language called Sinhala, right?
yeah, it's called Sinhalese, and we as English people we call it Singhala. We
Sinhala.
yeah, Singhala.
Mhm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Was your schooling in English?
Partly English and partly Sinhala. Like if you want to learn everything in English, you have some kind of called English medium. But I didn't choose English
Okay.
medium. I just selected like my mother language. So
Right.
I was doing most of the things in English, Sinhala. But there's a period called English, so we were getting some English language knowledge as well.
Right. And of course. Oh, so there was a period. So it was Sinhala medium, and
Yeah,
there was one thing called English, one
yeah.
a subject called English.
Everyone should
Okay.
know English in our country, like which is like
Okay. And another question is, how similar is it to Tamil? Like, because Tamil is the closest this. So, is there any kind of
oh yeah, but I'm strictly speaking about the things that I've learned from like reading some kind of context. So
Mhm.
as I know, like single language, it comes from Indo-Aryan descent. I will like share you some kind of reference as well. But
Right?
in language, it comes from like South Indian descent, it's called the Dravidian descent. So those things are not coming from the same same tree,
not from the same root. Okay.
not from the same tree, but since we the Dravidian languages and Indo-Aryan languages like Sinhalese and Tamil, they have coexisted for so many years of in this world. So we share some kind of same words like I think you speaking Hindi, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you call your mother Ma. In our language, Sinhala language, we call Amma, and in Tamil language, they also call Amma.
Also call Amma. Okay, so y'all have exchanged some things, but y'all are not from the same root.
No, as far as I know, we are not from the same root. Like we also share some kind of similarities with the Hindi language as well, and Pali and Sanskrit. Like both those are coming from India. I think in Sri Lankan historical context, we are coming from in Indian descent. Our Prince Vijay is a descent from Indian. So I am a Buddhist, so our religion is also has come from Indian as well, like Gautam Buddha. So our culture is you can see the whole Indian culture, I'm not talking about some kind of a very minuscule things, but if you are looking at the Indian culture as a whole, our Sri Lankan culture is also both like very similar. We have
right.
Very similar.
The vibes are very similar. That is something I mean, and generally, like the number of Sri Lankans that I've met, and I've lived in Tamil Nadu for a while also, and they generally have a lot of like mutual respect, many overlapping things, etc. Okay, let's go post 2009. Okay, this was when your LTT was essentially defeated. The leader of LTT, Prabhakaran, was killed, and whatever his body was destroyed, etc., etc. So, how was the transformation? What transformation did you see? Like for example, the disappearance of the checkpoints. Okay, how much of a relief was it for y'all?
Actually, it's like really like in my school. I remember in those conflict times, we had some kind of a bomb drill. I can't remember the exact terminology, but we call it bomb drill. So we there's some kind of an alarm going on. We had to just run from our buildings. We had to run because we are in the our school is in the urban Colombo area. Like it's like a hotspot for as a target. So we had to just when the bell rang, if we are doing something, we had to leave it there and run for a safe ground, because we had to we were told to go to that place as a precaution from a bomb threat or something like that. So after those conflict ended in 2009, everything just go away. I think people were gradually coming back to normal sense. Like before conflict, I think the conflict started in 1980. So before 80s, people we were reintegrating ourselves into the society. And I think those checkpoints just I can remember everything went away gradually. Not straight away, but they went away
eventually. Slowly.
Yeah, now at this time, there was a severe bombing in 2019. Before that, after 2009 and 2019, those 10-year era, I think it was very peaceful. We'd hardly see military personnel in in Colombo, any area. We were in our areas, we don't see them. But I should tell you, after 2019, those military presence was increased, because we had to
I understand.
Yeah, but other than that,
so from 2009 to 2019, generally, would you say Sri Lanka is a rich country, in the sense of generally you will not see very poor people? Is that a fact? Because my mother had gone there in 2000, I think 15 or something, and she was amazed. She even the poor, they don't look poor. They're quite chill there. So what is your thing?
Yeah, actually, when I can ask you where your mother visited in Sri Lanka, the areas, if she can remember, if she told you.
Yeah, she's quite a traveler. So she first obviously went to Colombo, and
Yeah.
then she went. I think she went for a road trip to Jaffna, to all the way
Yeah.
to the north.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she came back, and I think she went towards the east. I don't think she went to the south, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
basically north and east.
north and east. So actually,
Hmm.
those places like kind of like developed. I think I can't remember after the conflict ended in 2009. Like the development started in those areas and
Hmm.
also in the south. And
Right.
if you come to in Colombo, like in any year, like 1980s, it's also it looks developed because it's the capital in Sri Lanka. So it
Right.
like all the people, all the governments pump money to make that city beautiful to like
Right.
attract people. Other than that, like when you are talking about the people who are like poor, I cannot really like demarcate these people are poor, these people are rich, because like if you ask me, I'm a poor person myself. But to another person I might be rich, so I
Right.
cannot really
No,
talk
no, no, no.
about
I
that.
mean, from poor, I mean like below poverty in the sense of
Yeah,
wearing torn
so
clothes. You know.
yeah, I think like in my area or in Colombo, like in those areas, you don't see people wearing worn clothes. Like even
Right.
if they
Right.
are very poor, like they just like do something like this. There's one thing that I want to like stress. Like when we see some person in like in stress or some kind of in hardship, like we tend to help them. So
Right.
I think if we see a person who's wearing worn clothes, a person who definitely go to them and ask what's the problem, and they would really help them.
Oh.
So like in that scenario, like I don't think you would see very poor
Okay.
people
Fair
here.
enough.
Yeah.
So on that note, can you describe Sri Lankan society? How is it? And are the parents as as Asian as we expect them to
Yes,
be?
yeah,
As get
exactly.
married soon.
Yeah, yeah. You 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 describe your parents. I'll say ditto. That's it. Like everything, like same to same, like word to word. We are exactly the same. Let me give you an example. We
Uh-huh.
had to like get straight A's. If we don't get straight A's, if we don't get straight A's for any subject, like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
game over. Like if you fail some subject in 2010, you would never hear the end of it. Like you would get children of your own, but your own mother will also blame you for failing those degree or failing
Oh
those
Lord,
subject
Lord,
in
Lord.
2010. They will never hear the end
Crazy,
of it.
crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, we get back to this subject because this is very interesting, and I want to explore it in the context of antinatalism. But for now, tell me about life after 2019. Like, was there a palpable difference in the way things happened, like the trust, and was there a Muslim mistrust, especially in Sri Lanka?
Uh, you're asking actually from the wrong person, because in our area, we like very multicultural, there are Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims. Uh,
Right.
like uh, I think there were some people from, I think I can remember, like people who were accused of helping terrorism or something like
Hmm.
that in some areas, but not from the people in Kalutara. I'm really proud to say that like there were
Right.
zero people who were accused of terrorism. Like I talked to them. I talked to my. I don't really like to like I hate I stress I hate like gender politics and these identity politics. I call a person who born in Sri Lanka as Sri Lankans. I hate if even if you are asking me to differentiate this person or this person by their creed or caste, or are they Muslims or singular
Mm.
people. That's
Correct.
very
All right.
into, because like I don't see the difference. Like most of the people in our area, they call
Right.
single, they single, and I can speak some kind of Tamil, some like very simple Tamil. I can
Hmm.
understand. So if I'm talking with some kind of a friend or some person in a Muslim person, I would speak some short sentences in Tamil, and they would of course talk very fluent signal. Also,
Right.
like to get some kind of ice breaking, I would say something in Tamil as well. And if they're talking to me Tamil, I don't understand, I would ask them to like I would ask them like in
Got
single,
it,
but
got it. All right. So what? So in your area, fair enough. But in general, in society, like let's talk about politics. Okay.
yeah,
Where did people become more, careful of each other? You know?
yeah, not careful. Actually, in like all since the inception of this country, like after the British rule, the rulers have been doing this thing like they divide and conquer. Like they divide people in. You are Sinhalese, you should support this political group. You are Tamil,
Right.
you should support this
Okay.
political group. So people are always been
Divided among
divided,
each other.
divided. So like if I there was a time like after the 2019 bombing, like people who were supporting this kind of party, they would
Mhm.
be like shunned out of the society. Like they would be scolded. Like why would you support this
Mm.
party? Those parties are behind those some kind of people. But
Mm.
as some parties in Sri Lanka, like they really disregard these racial and religious
Okay.
divisions, but some parties they really thrive on these divisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most parties do. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So how badly did the Rajapaksas affect this game? Okay, like how bad did it exacerbate the whole Sri Lanka crisis essentially? Because I believe it started in 2019, when the tourism dropped, and and the Rajapaksas sort of rose into
Yeah.
real power.
Yeah.
So how badly did they exacerbate this issue?
So like when I'm discussing about the things I like politics sense, the tourism dropped. Like it's the major revenue stream for Sri Lanka,
Mhm.
and also like we are taking loans to make some kind of I don't know if I can say this word, like bullshit
Mm.
development project. Like you don't need those things. Like you
Mm.
don't need those things. Like we can improve our own infrastructure by taking loan. So we
Right.
didn't do that. We like those Rajapaksa and the people behind them. Like they were taking loans from China and some, like I can't remember those countries, but
Mhm, mhm.
our like our most credit, like the China is the most backer in our loan. So they funded those projects, like unnecessary
Correct.
development projects. So
Mhm,
they're I can't remember the term, but I think in 2020, like in
mhm,
the after the corona hit, so we had to I think it's also like unnecessarily we wasted some kind of money
mhm.
around treating the
Yeah, of course. The whole,
treatment like unnecessarily, and there was like corruption all
of
around the
course, of course.
all corruption is through the roof. So in that case, like in 2022, at
Mhm.
the end of the 2021 and start of the 2022 is the like I think we were like people who were like dancing in a burning house, like
Mm.
the roof just fell
Right.
off on our heads. That's what it like. We were just dancing and we didn't care about the surroundings. We were happy on our own
Right.
bubble, and
Uh,
then everything just like gone
Boom.
to boom. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
it.
did anyone, was there a section of Sri Lankan society which was saying that, this could be dangerous? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
were they shunned and put to the
Yeah,
side, basically?
exactly. Like if I'm following correctly, our current president, Mr.
Mhm.
Ranil, in
Run.
2019 or 2020, I can't remember. He said this like he's the single party member in the parliament. Like he has only one seat in the parliament to back him.
Uh-huh.
So he said if we are doing the same thing, the same mistakes
Uh-huh.
for these years, we will definitely face some kind of real big storm
Right.
in coming years. Like he
Right.
predicted, and most of the like there are some kind of like our parliament is like most of the parliaments in the world. It's
Mm.
there are
Yeah.
several people who educated and who should be in the parliament, and most majority
Are
is
not
just
there. Correct.
yeah, and like even if they're educated, they do not act as educated people. They would like just
Yeah,
do
you're not
everything.
allowed to act, because
Yeah,
that's how the people
exactly.
are. The people
Yeah,
don't like education because
yeah,
education is like it's like it's boring more than
definitely.
anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
If we, actually, if we are talking to a to public, if
mm.
if you act as an educated person, the public will see himself as not an equal, but a person
And
who's above. Yeah, so
about
people won't like him or her. So people won't vote them.
uh,
That's the problem. Like people, the baseline of any politics is you need votes. Without votes, you can't do
correct,
anything. So you have to cater to the people, the majority of this country, the
right,
majority of the people. So majority, if the majority of the people do not like educated people, do not,
correct,
yeah, the educated people won't get elected. Even
correct,
if they
correct,
are elected by chance, they don't get to act as an educated people. They have to
right,
follow those other uneducated majority in the parliament.
correct, correct, correct. Absolutely. All right. So now, what do you think? So now we know the present. The whole world knows the present of Sri Lanka. We just went briefly through the past, I'm sure. Can you tell me what the future? What do you think the future is, and what do the people think the future is? Like, how
Yeah,
do they see it bleak? Because I know a lot of Sri Lankans are leaving Sri Lanka, as are a lot of Indians, but that's
yeah,
for a very separate reason.
yeah.
So, what do you think the future is? What does the elite think? What do the poor think, etc.?
Yeah, I can only speak for myself by like because I don't like go around asking people, hey, what do you
Okay.
think about the current situation of the country? But I think like yeah, like yesterday we had our budget like for the 2023.
Mhm.
I saw some kind of like progressive movements like privatizing, like we call them white elephants, like white elephant
Right.
uh, corporations in Sri Lanka, like state-owned corporations. They are
Mhm.
like having massive, what do you call it, like negative profits. I don't get the word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're in
Like
losses. Yes.
massive losses, but they are still kept going for years. And there's like
Correct.
the government sector of Sri Lanka is heavy, massive. Like it's really hard to uh, like afford to the common people. We had to
Right,
pay for
right.
those state sector. So I heard like most of these things will be privatized or like reconfigured. I don't really understand those
Right.
things, but the gist of it is like we want the burden of funding those state programs will be
Mm.
taken away from the people in Sri Lanka, and they will be
Right.
moved on to some kind of private organization. So they would like any private like I think in my opinion, a government should only act as a person who would offer you public goods, like they would maintain
Right.
roads, like power, or
They should
like
not be in
maintain.
business. The government has
Yeah,
no
the
business to
government
be in business.
should not be involved in business, and
Correct.
so that should be left to the private sector, and the government should help the private sector to like thrive, like in a sense, like protectionism, like protecting from interference or from multinational corporations, or like big countries with big resources. So that's the thing that the government should do. But in our country, it's the other way. Like government is
Yeah,
doing
yeah. I
everything.
think in most countries.
Like everything is doing by the government, and people are waiting something done by the government as well. Like
Yeah, yeah. No one,
if
no
you,
one wants to take responsibility.
yeah, no one wants to take responsibility. Like if you listen to the news any day, people would go out and say government should do this, government should do that.
Right.
They are not speaking for themselves. They are waiting until the government is doing it. So like
Very true. Very true. Yeah, that is. I think that is a very Asian trait, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes I attribute it to the heat because it's so hot. You just don't want to move. You're like, ah, why should I do it?
yeah,
And there is no motivation to like do anything because and it's cold. If you don't do anything yourself, you're dead.
yeah.
So there's this massive this very interesting. Okay, so a random question by a user. Do you uh, username follower? Do you guys worship Ravan? So we have these rumors in India, right? Yeah, where it's like because see in South India they do worship Ravan. Okay, he's like a god in himself.
Yeah.
But is this does the same thing happen in Sri Lanka? Like, is it a big?
So really, like the only person like as a Buddhist I worship is Lord Buddha, and his followers, like we call them monks. So those are the only people I worship. Like we go to
Right.
temple, like I don't usually go to temple, but like when there's a special occasion, I would go to temple and worship Buddha and monks. And
Right.
we like in history of Sri Lanka, like people are taught as Ravan as Valmiki's Ramayan. We are educated from we are educated about the Ramayana as well. But from
Right.
our own historical context, we are also taught about Ravana, a great king who had like not 10 heads. Like he didn't
Yeah.
look like a meta human or like a superhuman person, but he had like 10 skills. Like 10 heads represents 10 skills. If I can remember correctly, like
Right.
he's
Right.
like
Right.
a very powerful king who did some kind of a very innovative person. Like he had, I think in Sinhala we called it Dadu Monare. In
Mhm.
Dadu Monare is some kind of a device that works with. I think it's mercury. It's powered by mercury, and you can use that as an aircraft. Like you can go from one place to another place.
Right.
So any person who learns this history, like they're fascinated. Oh, we are coming from someone called Ravana, who's a great king. Like he's a great
Ah.
conqueror. Like he has the Dadu Monare. He can go anywhere he wants.
Right.
So like worship is not the correct word. People respect him. Like you won't see a person like disrespect Ravana. Like
Right.
oh
Right. Right.
yeah, but we don't worship him. But we would we don't disrespect him. And like, we respect as my personal opinion, I think King Ravana like he uh, I don't know if he existed or not. Like we cannot find any written proof. Like we cannot
Right.
find any like
Whatever.
fossils or
Yes. Of
anything.
course.
Even if he existed, he did he let's say he existed. He was from the things that I read. He looks like a cool
Mm.
conqueror, like a king.
Right.
Did some bad things, like unacceptable in any point of view, stealing.
Right.
I mean, if Valmiki Ravana, sorry, Valmiki's Ravana, sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Can you
Valmiki.
keep your mic a little closer to you?
Yeah, let's say if Valmiki's Ramayana, sorry, I'm just getting the word
Yeah.
wrong. Ramayanam,
Ramayan. That's it.
Ramayanam, the
Ah.
Valmiki's Ramayanam is correct. Then Ravana is a bad person. Like
Yeah.
stealing someone's wife is it's unacceptable. Like even if
Right.
he's the greatest king in the whole wide world, he did the wrong thing. He's a bad person. I
Right.
give you that. That's it from in my
Yeah.
personal.
So basically, in Sri Lanka, he's respected. All
Yeah,
right. And in India, he's not exactly hated. But what our scene is more like, we have 300 Ramayans, and in one of the Ramayans, Sita was Ravan's daughter. And apparently, Ram was the one who got her on false pretenses and all that. So there are a whole
yeah.
bunch of
I've heard your version as well.
right.
I think Sita was found in a paddy field, if I can
Yeah.
remember correctly. In a paddy field, and the father was Ravana, and like crazy, crazy things. Like
Yeah,
I'm not.
I think most of these stories are just to tell us about how life is and the various number of things that can happen in life. And
Yeah,
they
yeah.
try not to leave anything out, basically.
Yeah, and basically, yeah, the other thing, like what I'm taking from that story, like
Mhm.
India and Sri Lanka has a history, like they're connected, like we for past, like we cannot even fathom, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
like
Thousands of millions of years,
thousands
whatever.
of years ago, like like we were connected.
Correct.
That's like you and I connected through this kind of
Right,
interview,
right.
like a discussion. We were connected a long time ago as well.
Correct, correct. So, okay, what is the Sri Lankan opinion about the Ram Setu? Because now, this is quite an issue here. In this, Ram Setu is that the
Yeah,
bridge,
the
basically.
bridge between I think Talaimanaram and I can't remember the port
Rameshwaram.
in Rameswaram port.
Uh-huh.
So I just learned some kind of from something like from news, but I don't really want to quote news in this
Right,
kind of a discussion, because news can be
right.
biased. So I personally don't have any kind of opinion, but let me say, if there's a bridge built between Sri Lanka and India, like through
Right.
the what do you call it, like pork? Isn't it pork?
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah.
call
The
it pork,
Polk
right?
Strait. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
pork street. So like it would be like very cool. I think it's something like it's people in this world. They
Yeah.
have like you can remember if we didn't have any kind of something called Suez Canal which connects to
Right.
ports. So that would be something like that. Like there would be a direct line for shipping and something, like
Yeah,
trans.
yeah, yeah. Whatever. Transportation of goods and people and whatnot.
I think it would be the island nation Sri Lanka will be directly connected to the Asia and to the whole world. But
Yeah.
that's my personal opinion. But people would say, "Oh my God, it's going to be very disastrous to Sri Lanka." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like I don't really want to talk about that because I'm
Uh,
not on those issues. I am not a politician or I am not a.
right, right. Understand.
But
Okay, so let's go to one more question. How many of your friends have left Sri Lanka since the crisis started? Do you know anyone? Any families, etc.?
I would many people I know, like many people I've gone to school with, they have
Mhm.
left all in 2016,
Mm.
2018, that, and some of my batchmates in my university, they have also after the I completed my degree. After
Uh-huh.
completed the degree, they also have like foreign employment opportunities, so
Right,
they left. I don't think right after this economic collapse in 2012, like after
right.
few left and
Mike. Sorry. Go on, go on.
so right
After the economy collapsed in 2012, you said. Huh.
them went, and even before that some of them went. So
Right.
like I don't think like most of the people who live in Sri Lanka, like there's very few options. You either be a, I think it's similar to India as well. You either be a
Right.
doctor, engineer,
Mhm.
lawyer, or
Hmm.
you get the hell out of this
Go
country.
get the hell out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now everyone is basically getting the hell out. I think it's basically an Asian exodus more than
Yes,
anything.
yes, yes, yes.
So yeah, crazy. I guess, but generally life is good, right? I mean, in Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
generally,
I mean, I don't know. I'm saying something like very against most of the people saying,
uh-huh.
I love this country very much. This is a if I'm a rich person, like a person who born in like in Asia, like in Europe or in
Mhm.
America or England, something like that, or Australia even, I would definitely live off my like what we call like after I get my pension, like I retired. I would definitely retire in Sri Lanka because cool weather. You don't like very hot summer. There is no very hot summer. There is no
Right.
like winters. We don't get
Mm.
sub-zero temperature or like a
Right.
temperature around 40. We get like
Uh-huh.
it's very cool
Moderate,
nature,
moderate temperature.
moderate. Like we can live very like very and the surroundings is beautiful. Like if you don't have very big expectations from life, like
Right.
I'm that's what I'm talking about as a retiree, as
Right.
a young person or a midlife person. I
Mm.
shouldn't limit myself in the Sri Lankan context. But as a
Right.
retiree, a person who's very old, this is a
Mm.
very good country to live off you the rest
Yeah,
of
yeah.
your life.
I agree.
Exact, like very good country. Like that's it.
All right. How possible is it? Are you an anti-natalist? That is my one question.
Exact. Like I think all my life, if when I learn those things, like not a very child, but when I get like adulthood, uh,
Right.
I learned about like things like we are all everyone, even if the most richest person, they are in some kind of a pain. Like even the richest,
Mm.
like I think the if I'm not wrong, like wife of Jeff Bezos, she left him for
Right.
another guy. So
Correct.
even the richest, I Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos.
Even the richest guys cannot keep their wives, basically.
I'm not talking about why. I'm talking about the pain that the Jeff
Yes.
Bezos should be. He might be like suffering. Like he might be like like disheartened because
Uh-huh.
his wife left him. So
Correct.
even if the richest person in the world is not exempt from pain and suffering, we are
Right.
all subjected to suffering.
but I might say this because I'm my religion is Buddhism. I think if you read antinatalism, you can see some of the early early writings about antinatalism is based on Buddhist teachings, because
Correct. Correct.
Buddha said all life is pain, suffering. Like everything builds, the life builds on suffering. The
Mhm.
only path away from suffering is to leave all attachments, like just
Right.
like himself, like go into seclusion, go
Right.
into go away from your home, find the
Mm.
truth. In that way you
Fair
will
enough.
escape suffering.
Correct.
So in around 2018,
Ah.
in my university years, I like we had some kind of this called a philosophical chat, like discussion between our friends, like we had
Right.
some
Right.
kind of
Right.
like friends in the university. We were
Mm-hmm.
discussing about like some philosophies, like we were like exposed into something called uh, like that's the first time I learned that word in 2018. I still remember the time, like very excited. Oh, the thing I believed in my whole life.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the world is built on pain. People are suffering. We should not
Correct.
bring another human being knowingly into
Correct.
suffering to this world. Oh my God, there's a word to it. It's called. I can still remember coming to home and telling my mother,
Uh-huh.
what is do you remember the things I told you about not bringing a child into this world?
Ah.
To bring a child into this world knowingly, it's very immoral thing. Do you know there's a word to there's a word. There's a whole philosophy behind it. I am not just like a ranting madman.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
I'm
not
not
crazy.
madman.
Correct.
I'm not crazy. There's a world. There's a people. There's a community. I discovered the antination community in Facebook as well in
Right.
2018. There's a group called antinatalism. I think it's the leading group in
Yes.
antinatalism. I
Yes.
joined it. So I started discussing about. So I get to know about different cultured people, like uh, from European people, American people, Australian people, Asian people. They are coming from very different backgrounds. They have very
Right.
different like lifestyles. Like you
Mm.
might say, Asian, like the people coming from Europe and USA, they have some kind of a better life standards than Asian people, but
Right.
they have the same idea as me.
Nonsense. Correct.
Life is yeah, life is hard. We have to
Mm.
we have to like face difficulties throughout our life. We should not bring another child into this world.
Brilliant.
So we I was connecting, and the ever since the first day I got this word antinatalism, I've been telling about it to everyone I met. Everyone I met, yo, my friend, there's a term called antinatalism. You should Google it. It's something. It will blow your mind. In 2018, I remember, if I mention like people are suffering, we should not bring another child into this world.
Mm.
People would reply to me in comment section in my post, or
Right.
in some people would curse me. What if your father didn't make you? What
Make.
if your
Oh
father?
God. I
Yeah, the
hate
same
this
say
logic.
yeah. I would I would say, if my parent didn't make me, I am not here, so I am not in pain.
Yeah.
I am not.
Exactly.
So what is the problem? There's no problem. But now, if you see in 2022, right now,
Mm.
people are saying the same thing I said back in 2018. They say,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, you should not make children in this economy.
Yeah.
Look at the hardships that face the
Yeah,
children
yeah.
who are."
People will only realize when it comes and bites them. And then on top of that,
Exactly.
there is this saying where it says that housewives will be cooking their neighbors for dinner. Their neighbors for dinner, okay, and they will still not be able to admit that something is wrong. All right, so that is
Exactly.
how delusional people are. Okay, so how do you, how what kind of response did you get, like when you told people about antinatalism
Yeah.
in general? Okay, and even in today, like what people what does the society say, what do your
Yeah.
parents say,
But
you know?
yeah, I think I have converted my parents. Like mostly my mother, she supports the idea. Like, no, now it's really like when you're looking at this current economic context, it's really
Right.
hard to even bring up a child, not even bring up a child for few years.
Hmm.
We don't have like life-saving medicines in our country right now.
Right.
Like if I can remember correctly, there was some kind of a news back in the day, back in 2 or 3 weeks back. Uh,
Hmm.
our pregnant mothers might have to birth the children in their own homes because they
Yeah.
don't have gas to travel those mothers to the hospitals.
Right.
So if someone is asking, oh, I don't care about that, you should make children, uh,
Hmm.
like they are being like very immoral. Like
Right.
the tables have turned. Now I can call them immoral. You are a terrible person. You
Yeah.
you are bringing a child to suffer in this context. You are a terrible person. But back in 2018, 2019, I was called a terrible person. Uh,
Hmm.
how the
Yeah.
table has
Yeah.
turned now?
Absolutely, it
Like
happens. So but they people have not understood that thing yet, unfortunately. And there was this video of I keep mentioning this. This was the turning point, where I really got pissed off. There was a flood in Assam, which happens every year, basically,
yeah,
and the flood was so much that it was coming up to people's chests. Okay, and
yeah,
in that, a guy got a baby. Okay, a baby, and he was smiling and cooing at her, and he was just
yeah,
walking through the flood, and
yeah,
everyone's like, "Oh, Bal Krishna," and all, because Krishna was born in a flood or something.
yeah. I
What
know.
what is wrong with you people, man? It is crazy. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's but okay. How do you see the future of the world, and how do you see? Have you been following? What do you call it? Have you been following climate news in general?
yeah. I mean, we cannot we cannot deny deny the climate change. Like we see like crazy things happen, and like I learned like in those things in our geography. I think I can't remember
Yeah,
the subject in my school. Like we learned about this climate change, and the world is literally going to shit in few
right.
years, but not the rate that the news is telling. Like the world
Yeah.
will end tomorrow. No, the world will
No,
not
no,
end
no,
tomorrow, but it
no.
will
The news.
definitely end. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely world will.
yeah. No, no, no.
So
The news is saying the opposite. It's saying, oh, we
yeah,
have 50 years, we have 70 years, 100 years. We don't have that kind of time. And yes, of course, then there are the conspiracy theorists who are saying tomorrow, day after. But that's
yeah,
not how any society is. It takes time.
yeah, yeah. But like there would be some kind of a middle ground. Like the world will end, but not tomorrow, but not in thousands of years later.
Yeah.
But we have to act some kind of way, like to preserve this world, not for humans. I mean, like if we
Right.
are preserving this world for humans, we are being selfish, so we are being like ignorant. This I mean, I would argue for with the whole world, this world is not built for humans. This,
Yeah, yeah.
we are just visitors, like we
One
are
of
like
the
aliens.
species.
We are one of the
Right.
species. Yeah,
Right.
if like for every man there would be billions of like small creatures in this world, like
Correct. Correct.
I think, let's say ants, there would be billions of ants. But we like, do ants behave like this world belong to them? No, like only the human people who behave
Yeah, yeah.
like the world belongs to them. So like,
Agree.
yeah, you if you might argue with me, of course, ants do not have self-aware. They don't know about themselves. They don't only people have the sentient. They
Hmm.
have mind. The people can think for themselves, and because of that, the world belongs to humans. But if you can remember, like if you can remember, like Terminator, I think you have seen that movie, Terminator.
Right.
Like everyone's know that movie. Back in 2018 or 2019, in my university, like my friends and I, we like usually go to some kind of a TED talks. Like in our
Mm,
country,
mm,
we have
mm,
like
mm.
not
Okay.
we don't call it TED talks, like independently things
Whatever.
like
Yes, yes, yes. I
yeah, yeah.
understand. I understand.
So there was some kind of engineer, like a very famous. I won't mention his name.
Okay.
Very famous engineer, like tech person.
Uh-huh.
He mentioned, if you learn artificial intelligence, if you have
Mm.
watched the movie Terminator, you would, if you think like an AI,
Mm.
what the main purpose of software or any kind of artificial intelligence is to solve humans' problems. the problems that develop. So
Okay.
if the AI is very sentient, like AI is superb
Mm.
AI, what do you think the problem for the humans? The problem, the main, the basic, the biggest problem to the human is humans. That's
Correct.
why Skynet just ran down hellfire to the whole world.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a slippery slope because it will say, oh, humans' problems are human. That is one issue. Or the other thing is, if it becomes super sentient, it will become like human and say, oh, I
yeah,
can use these for economic gain. You know,
yeah,
destroy the humans for economic gain. So from
yeah,
both
yeah,
points of view, it doesn't make sense.
yeah,
You know. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So interesting. So all right. So I think we've generally had quite a comprehensive interview.
yeah,
We've gone through the history of Sri Lanka very basically. We've gone through the collapse.
yeah.
We spoke about the future in general and antinatalism and the Sri Lankan society and language, of course.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
Uh, like no, like I'm blank. Like if you didn't ask me a question, like I don't know. I can't speak of my mind. Like
Right.
I like one thing. Like I would like say my own personal feelings about antinatalism. More,
Mhm.
let's forget the terminology.
Mm.
Why you should know my like this is my ending remarks.
Yeah.
Why you should not bring another child into this world. I would
Mhm.
like tell you in very briefly. Like
Mhm.
if you, I'm talking to the listeners right now.
Yes.
If you can remember from the day since you were born, the hardships you felt, your parents might told you that, oh, don't worry about this and that, this will go
Mm.
away. Of course that will go away because you have grown out of that suffering, but you
Mhm.
will always face some kind of a new kind of suffering.
True.
You cannot escape from suffering. So if you know about this suffering, you are a sentient being. You have a mind to think for yourself. Just disregard the society or disregard what society has offered to you, has like what they are
Mhm.
telling, what they are like what they are forcing on you. You
Correct.
have to think for yourself and say, if you know that you are suffering, and if you know anyone who will come to new to this world will
Mhm.
suffering, and if you love them, the
Ah.
basic thing, if you love them, if you respect them, you would not bring them here. You would not
Correct.
like like I will give you like two allegories. The first one,
Mhm.
you see a building,
Mm.
it looks fine on the inside, but if you open the door and you go inside, you will burn yourself to death. Would you
Right.
tell another person, yo, there's some kind of
To go in. Yes.
there's a candy man behind the door, you should open the door and go to it. I just went to the door, as I just came back from the building as well, I got some very good things. You wouldn't do that. I mean, if you're a psychopath, you would do that. You would
Right.
you would tell, oh yes, there's a very good like very fun in the building. You should go
Mm.
to the building and enjoy yourself. But if you are a like compassionate human being, you would not ask them to enter the building, the burning building.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
you wouldn't
agree.
ask. But I would end my remarks with a quote. I cannot. I used this quote yesterday after
Mm.
I watched the movie called like the I watched the movie called The Pink Cloud. It
Mm.
was a very interesting movie. I would ask you to watch the movie as well. The
Mhm.
Pink Cloud. It's a Brazilian movie. It was written
Okay.
in 2000. It was written in 2017. It it
Oh.
it it was written in 2017 and it was directed in 2019. You
Okay.
would be we would be amazed from the film. It just pre-tell everything happened in 2020 to 2021. The
Really?
covid
Okay.
the covid the covid the isolation, everything. It
Wow.
I was really amazed. The basic premise of that movie is the world is covered with a pink cloud. If you go
Mhm.
outside of your room, outside of your
Oh.
house, you would
Ah.
die in 10 seconds, just like in the like COVID-19 situation.
Yeah.
People were confined into their own houses. They
Right.
were quarantined. In this story as well, the people are quarantined, and the government has some kind of found a method to transport goods through a tube, so people
Mhm.
would get tubes. And like you know people who lost their jobs because of the COVID-19
Right.
isolation. In this
Mm.
movie as well, the person who is a chiropractor, a person who
Mm.
does kind of a, like massaging. I don't really understand what
Right,
he's
right,
doing.
right, right, right.
He says this quote. He says, how am I do my job if I
Mm.
can touch another person? The chiropractor is
Right,
massage therapist. If he cannot move out of his house, he cannot do his job. So he
right.
lost his he loses his job. So, but he's stuck with another woman in that house as well. So they decide to make a child in
Mm.
that near apocalyptic world. They
Yeah,
make a child in this movie. The I
crazy.
think the writer is a woman, and she wrote that in 2017. So she didn't. I think she didn't have any kind of a. If she had a premonition, like she can see the future, that's another story. But if she cannot see
Right,
the future, she's talking about this some kind of like what we are discussing, like the world is going to end. But
right, right.
even if that is the case, people are bringing children. Even
Yeah, yeah.
we know the idea.
Shamelessly.
So
Mm.
yeah. So I shared this movie with our anti-racism group as well. I caught the line
Ah.
said by some kind of a author. I cannot remember his name. He said, "Bringing this." I'm paraphrasing his quote. I can't remember the exact quote.
Uh-huh.
He said, like, bringing a children into this world is like bringing wood into a burning
Yes,
house.
into a burning house.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
like
absolutely. So true.
that's a marvelous quote. Like,
Absolutely.
I
So on
absolutely
on
love that
on
right.
that note, yeah, yeah. On that
Yeah.
note, I think that's a perfect note to end this. So thank you so much, Nipuna Veersekara from Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for expressing well and in very passionately. So it was really nice to have you here. And I think this is going to be a very interesting podcast. I really hope people respond well. And that's about it. Thank you so much. I hope you do well in your country, and I hope your country does well also, because I really want to visit it someday. And but yeah, I mean, I know all of humanity is going for a toss, but before that I want to visit it.
Exactly.
So I'll see you, I guess, on Facebook and wherever
Yeah,
we meet.
definitely. I might
Yeah,
visit India soon.